Where'd it go? Oh man, this is very weird. This is like, okay. All right, so that's what happens. If you need assistance, place your marked down inside the yellow acting. Remember to sign your. If you needed assistance, your helper needs to sign the affidavit and place the sealed envelope containing the ballot inside the white return envelope and seal. You can return the ballot by mail, in person at the town clerk's office, or by placing your ballot in the town drop box in front of the town hall. Double check everybody's address. Oh. Hi, Gail.
Hello, Grace.
Hello. This away. How are you doing?
Okie doke. How are you?
Oh, I'm good.
Later in the meeting, can you give me share screen capabilities?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do that now somehow.
So I can go to the web and show and tell.
How do I do this? Okay. Okay, I've made you the co-host, so I think that means you'll be able to screen share.
Yep.
Yay.
Perfect. Thank you. When the time comes.
Yes.
Hey, Fred.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Good.
Hello.
Oops, just one sec. I don't need to get that new.
Your kids at home or school these days? Fred.
Both. 2 in school, 1 at home. Yeah, the 6th grader started a couple weeks ago, and the 9th grader went Monday.
First time on Monday?
Yeah.
Wow. So what, 4 weeks of school before the,
More like 6. They go till the 3rd week in June, I think.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah. It's late.
And it's all in person now? At the 9th grade?
Yeah, she said about half are there and half stayed home.
So it's voluntary. Yeah,
Mhm.
I guess it has to be.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Jamie.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Okay, it is 1:02. I'll call this meeting to order. In attendance for the record, Grace Banish, Town Clerk, Gail Fleischaker, Chair, Jamie Malcolm Brown, and Fred Steinberg. Okay, Grace.
Okay. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today with everyone is exciting news. CISA, the new Cybersecurity and Information Technology Agency at the federal level, has taken over the .gov registry, and they've made it free. So it was $400 a year, which is why a lot of small towns don't have .gov domain names. It's now free. They're pushing for people to get it. I think we should go for it. It would be very useful for me from an election perspective. It makes a big difference in terms of being able to signal to people that when they're communicating with me, especially when we're talking about overseas voters, that .gov domain makes a big difference in establishing trust. There are some security features to having a .gov domain that
What kind of features?
security features
Yeah, okay.
that I don't know much about, and I would be interested whether those things were relevant to us or not, but worth
Well,
exploring.
Is there any reason not to do it?
Not that I can think of.
Would this take the place of our current website?
It would, but so I was talking with my dad about this, and this is where I don't have the tech skills to really answer it, but we have to submit an application to join the .gov to the registry. And we also have to communicate somehow to our previous domain registry that we've done this. But the website itself stays the same.
What's our domain now, Jamie?
Shutesbury.org.
Also, shutesbury.gov is available. So I checked that.
Oh, I'm sure it
We
has
can
to be.
use it.
We're the only Shutesbury. Is it shutesbury.gov or shutesbury-ma.gov?
Shutesbury.gov. We wouldn't even need to use,
Oh,
I also checked, according to the Census Registry of Place Names, there's no other Shutesbury in the country.
Right.
So it look exactly the same, but have a different name.
Same website, different name. And when people, we can set it up so that when people type in shutesbury.org, it'll direct them straight to shutesbury.gov. I don't know how to do that, but I know it's possible.
They'll give us, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my only question on the name would be, I've noticed it's sort of a standard to have town-state abbreviation.gov, so that might be something to consider.
Yeah, yeah.
Shutesbury. So
Because it's expected.
yeah.
And I think that, part of,
Or we could get both if they're free. you know.
yeah.
How confusing would that be?
No, I mean, it'd be the same as shutesbury.org goes to the new name. So shutesbury.gov would go to shutesbury-ma.gov.
Right. Yeah. You can have as many your domains pointing at your main one as you want.
And nobody's going to see this anyway. They're just going to be shown up to wherever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we get the domain name, someone else can't get it and then use it to create a deep fake of our town website and spread misinformation.
Yeah. Well, theoretically, that wouldn't happen
Theoretically.
anyway,
I mean,
because
yeah, but like,
you have to apply. And yeah, we did that. Like I said, a long time ago, we had shutesbury-ma.gov. and
Yeah.
never used it. And then I think it was free, and then they started charging, so we never paid.
Right. And I see that in the history. The first year was free, and then they hit folks with a big fee. When you say it's free now, Grace, is it going to stay free?
it's not clear right now. So it's free now because they passed a law that lasts for a year and it's going to expire at the end of fiscal year 2022. But I think it's reasonable to assume that if a bunch of local governments take advantage of this, they'll keep it free, because the reason, when they did a survey, the reason almost everyone who wasn't getting a .gov address domain said they weren't doing it was because it was so expensive. And they want us to do this,
They who?
the federal government, specifically CISA. So that's the Cybersecurity and Information Technology Agency, or am I saying that right? Systems CISA.
I would think if they do start charging for it, it wouldn't be in the hundreds. I would think it'd be, similar to a .com price, which is
Yeah.
$10 or $20 a year.
Mhm.
I don't know
So,
why they charge so much.
Grace, give me the federal name again make sure I get this right.
Yeah, it is. Oh. Du-du. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency.
Infrastructure,
Security Agency.
Yeah, it's just cisa.gov.
CIA.
And they're
Hilarious.
great. I've had a lot of, because of the election stuff, I've been interacting with them a lot, and I found them very helpful.
So they're sponsoring this, promoting it, what?
Yep. They've updated so they just got control of the registry was transferred to them a couple months ago. And they're doing a big PR campaign to get the word out that people can sign up for .gov registry domains for free now. There's an application process. We have to verify our identity as an actual town government, but that'll be very easy and straightforward for us.
Are there any downsides?
I can't think of any.
Yeah, neither can I.
Okay. So we should probably take a formal vote. Yes,
Yes.
do you think so? And then say to you, Grace, go get them.
Yep. I can do that.
Okay,
All right. I move that we should acquire the .gov domain.
A second.
okay.
I
Wait for it.
Fly shaker, aye. Okay.
Oh, you call it. Aye.
I
Moved
Aye.
and seconded for Shutesbury to acquire. Is that the proper term? Do we acquire a domain?
yeah.
Well done. Okay, moving right along.
All right. The other thing I really wanted to talk about was email. So I know this is something that's come up again and again and again for the web committee. And I've read the minutes. They're very long. And it seems like nothing has changed and it's the same problems we've always had. I was hoping maybe someone would be willing to call up a bunch of the towns around us and find out what they're using for emails. I've been reading a bunch of other towns' web use and IT policies, and a lot of towns have very appropriate rules for email use that we don't have, but they always just say webmail application, and they're not describing what they're using. And it's hard to come up with ideas of how to move the email conversation forward when I don't know what the tools available are. And I also don't have really the tech skills to do that research on my own.
And you're talking about email correspondence from committee members, official town business, basically.
Yeah, so right now it's a kind of a mess. There are some people who have official town emails. There are some people who have followed the suggestion that is where this conversation has landed in the past, where we ask volunteers to set up a free Gmail account with like their name and Shutesbury in it.
Mhm.
Sometimes people are really, really resistant to that and say, you either give me a town email or I'm just going to do what I want, which can be problematic down the line. So, you know, it doesn't make sense if if it costs us what, $5 a month per email address, and then theoretically we could just end up adding more and more email addresses, and that could get very expensive.
Well, there's no way to enforce it. I mean, you can say, yes, you should use this email only, but
Yeah, I don't think, even if those people who say, I'm not going to use the Gmail address, if you give them a town address, I don't see why they would change. They're going to want to use their personal address anyway. Maybe, I don't know. But
Yeah, they shouldn't though, because
well, yes.
it's a bad idea for records requests, but
No, I'm not saying it's a good idea.
It's dangerous for them in terms of litigation holds.
Well, what do people say when you tell them that?
but it's all potential. I mean, it's not, there's nothing you can show them that affects them now.
But
It's in case somebody ever asks.
It is
and
a
they're
risk.
They're gonna think,
It's a risk.
yeah.
And in terms of the records requests, that stuff happens constantly and it's a nightmare. We also I don't know how we are, we're supposed to be archiving digital communication, and that's not happening. So a lot of towns, the reason they have these really strict email use policies is because all the government emails get automatically archived and backed up.
Mhm.
And that's a legal requirement. I don't see how we could possibly do that.
No.
But
what kind of record request would you get, Grace, that would be derived from committee emails?
Oh, anything.
anything really. I mean, if the person who has custody of the documents that are being requested is using their personal email, they have to either sort through their personal email, or if there's a lawsuit, they have to let somebody else go through their.
As an example, Gail, as a citizen, I can ask the town, give me all the email that the planning committee has sent over the past year. That's a valid request. I mean, I'm supposed to have a good reason for that, but it's not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I can't, and you're supposed to have a good reason, but it doesn't matter what reason you have. I am not legally allowed to ask people why they want something.
Right.
Really?
Or who they are. I can ask for context as it allows me to better able answer the request. But so that comes up a lot, actually, pretty regularly, is a records request gets submitted and it takes way longer than it should and is way, way more complicated and frustrating for everyone involved than it has to be, because people are using various different emails.
Sure. Oh, wow.
Well, the only thing I know is town of Amherst uses Microsoft Outlook. That's all. But
that's a good data point, because so far all I've found is webmail applications, and it's driving me up the wall.
Well, yeah, I mean that includes a webmail application.
Yeah, I know, but I mean it's not a great descriptor.
Right.
But that still doesn't affect. I mean, that just gives you the means. It doesn't affect people's behavior.
Yes, you have to have people use that and only that.
Yeah.
So I think this is it's a literacy question, really. I mean, there are people who get this instinctually and on their own make a designated email for government work.
Mhm.
It's not, I'm not, it's not something I'd enforce as in like, I'm gonna spend all my time double checking, but people need to do it in their own best interest and in the public's interest. And if I can offer people official town emails, then I'm doing my bit to give them all the tools they need to actually pull this off and make it work for them. And it's harder for me to say, even if it's frustrating and annoying and not how you'd normally work or operate, you still have to do it when I'm not providing every tool that they might need.
Mhm.
But they still have to do it. Like, it's, people argue with me, but it's not actually an arguable
Well,
point.
One way to do it is simply cut off all of these forwarding mails, and all emails must go through the committee Gmail account where they are stored.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's mostly about like training, like,
Yep.
Yeah,
and reminding people.
yeah.
The trick is, of course, is that people have to keep up with the committee mail. They're not going to get the reminders. They're not going to get the forwards. Which
Yeah, so
means they have to check
that's a
in.
problem.
But that would keep all the mail correspondence in that central committee Gmail account.
And people are supposed to do that. The problem is when someone is using a personal email and is CCing the committee email on every email they send about committee business, and then a member of the public responds to them, and then they respond to that member of the public just
Right.
from their personal
out of-
email, and they
yeah.
forget to copy it. We remove those emails from the public record when that happens, except that there's still, public record law still applies to those emails, and it gets really, really messy really fast.
No, but
Yeah, I
start at the
think in
beginning
terms
of
of the
that.
training, what people need to understand is you can set up the forwarding, but if it's government business, it's read only.
No, I'm saying, oh.
You
Oh,
have to be,
back up.
Yeah.
If we made all the forwarding from committee emails read only,
oh, I don't know if we can actually do that. I meant, like,
Should be treated as.
yeah,
Mhm.
they're going to ignore it.
if they ignore it,
Yeah.
that's on them. But if we offer them everything they need to be successful, then it's not our responsibility if they ignore it and get sued and lose their personal computer.
Mhm. So basically you're looking for options for email systems.
Yep. This is something that's been a huge problem for me, and it's also been something that Tessa Dowling, the land use clerk, has been coming up against again and again. So yeah, we've been talking a lot about ways we can move this forward. It's just that I don't have the tech skills and wherewithal to
Mhm.
be making any success with the research.
Mhm. Well, I think you're right in that it will help, but I think you're aware it's not going to be a panacea. There's still going to be problems.
Yep, very much so.
Okay. Oh, what happened to Jamie?
Just kid ran in.
Oh, you could put it.
So any response to a public record request becomes town official business, right?
Yep. I mean, generally speaking, all records requests should be coming to me, but in terms of, any email that you send or is sent to you in your capacity as a government official is a public record. unless it is
That's,
specifically
that's the key. That's the key.
any email,
Okay.
all emails, unless it like is about somebody, it has someone's like social security number in it or something. Like there's
Right, yeah.
specific restricted records and there are specific exceptions, but by and large, you can't even delete emails. Like there's a tricky line where you can delete ads, but you can't delete newsletters, which are often just ads.
Mhm.
Well, but it still comes back to the people who use the mail. I mean,
It is, I mean, I don't think there's any way, does our current email system archive stuff automatically?
Unless you delete it, yeah.
the committee emails do. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Well, it's, yeah, archived in the sense that it's not
It just-
deleted unless somebody deletes it,
Nobody cleans it up. Yeah.
kicks around.
Right.
yeah.
So there are all the cents, there are all the receipts.
Well, there's the sends if they send it from a Shutesbury.org address. Yeah.
Right. But from that committee address,
Mhm. Yeah,
those
that's
are
all.
all, nobody goes in and changes this stuff. So we get into trouble only when we have the forwarding, the personal addresses.
No, because when we don't have the forwarding, the one person on the committee who can log into the email resigns and leaves. And then a few years later, the new chair of the committee calls the town clerk very upset about how they don't have an email address. And no one remembers how to log in, and it's a whole thing. And then when they finally get back into the email address, it turns out nobody was checking that email address for like
Right.
ever. So there is this training component, but if we have a better tool than what we're currently offering people, it'll be a lot easier to get people to take the training part seriously.
And I'm not
Right.
sure there's really a better tool out there though.
Yeah.
I mean, other email systems have just as many problems. I mean, you could do like, I think Microsoft 365 offers some government email systems, but you still have to pay for that as well. But then you're just using a different version of like Outlook. I don't know, Fred, if you're familiar with any other systems that would
No.
work, but
Yeah, I don't.
I feel like Gmail, a lot of people know, so they're not learning a new system, which is a good thing. Like if we find like a proprietary system, then it might be harder for people to get on board with it because it's a completely new way to check their email. But we can look around and see what else is out there. I'm not sure we'll find anything better.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But I want information so that I can actually know whether that's true or not, and not just be guessing.
Do the committees have only one or two people who have access to the committee email, Gmail?
Generally, the committees only have one person. Some of them don't even have one. Yeah. Some people have the chair check the email. Some people have, there's no consistency
Yeah.
Right.
over how it
Yeah.
works.
Nor consistency about who responds in the name of the committee to
Yeah.
anything. It's-
Which is problematic because when you have just one person doing the emails, that person usually just gets more and more comfortable answering questions from the
From
public
their own.
outright, but you're just one person. You don't actually have the authority to represent the whole committee without checking in with the rest of the committee.
Well, another solution would be to not have any committee email at all. and have everything come through one person, like the town clerk.
Oh,
Well, do you want
Dump.
to give me $1 million raise? Because that's
Yeah.
what that would take. That's,
that's more than a
that would be
full-time
the
job.
necessary prerequisite for me to
Yeah.
do that. And then I'd also have to quit every other aspect of this job.
Right, you'd have to hire a new person, the town email contact, yeah.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, we need an IT department. That's pretty clear.
Yes.
But there's
Yeah.
no one
But
person who's gonna have
especially,
the answers for all committee
know,
inquiries.
With the amount of turnover of volunteers and new chairs all the time, that might actually be the best solution. Because every time,
No, because then people would just use email from their personal email accounts and we wouldn't have any ability to keep this in a clearly designated. And it doesn't address the risk that comes to the individual in terms of litigation holds.
which individual?
Any individual. If someone is on a committee and is an
Oh, right,
elected or
but-
appointed official.
That's going to be a
Committee gets
risk no
sued.
matter what.
Yeah. And if we have designated government emails, that risk is significantly less disruptive.
Mhm. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying that the presence of a designated government email does not prevent somebody from still using their personal.
No, it doesn't prevent it.
It's gonna work the same
But-
way.
It lessens the chance.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think that we just have to bite the bullet and pay for more Gmail accounts for our system. That way we can assign every committee member their own personal Shutesbury email. They can still have the main committee email that like sends out to everybody, but then everybody's getting it in their town approved Gmail or whatever system we choose. But
Yeah.
And that, I think, just in terms of dollars, it'd probably be, I think it's $6 per user. Was that right? So figure $1,000 a month.
Oof.
Yeah, I feel like that's a hard sell.
Because the behavior isn't gonna change. That's the thing. No matter what you name the email.
No, I disagree. I've incorporated the Shutesbury Gmail thing into the swearing in process. And people email me from their brand new official Shutesbury emails as soon as they get home, and they're super respectful of it, unlike the people who've been using their personal emails for government business for a really long time and have very strong negative reactions to being asked to set up a new email account. I really think that,
Okay,
yeah, it's just about your comfort level and your familiarity with the technology involved. And that when we establish this as an expectation from the beginning, I am seeing a really big change in behavior.
uh-huh. That's good information. Okay.
Fred, do you know if we are just on the like grandfathered in free version, or are we
Yes. Yeah.
okay? I wonder if it's worth looking into the non-profit version.
I don't know. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yeah, that's what my organization uses. We have unlimited users.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that is what I would expect from this kind of service is the unlimited users thing, like
do you
a
know
flat
what?
rate. And
What?
then
Do you know what that costs for the unlimited profit?
It's free if we qualify. I don't know if they consider us a true nonprofit, or like I don't know if government is different, but
Huh.
So you're talking about the individual names at shutesbury.org addresses?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, and what I'm having people set up now when I swear them in is Shutesbury at Gmail addresses.
Yeah, so I can look up and see what their requirements are for that.
That would be great, yeah. Yeah, because like, I can't imagine, like none of, like my high school gave us all PVPA. We all had our own PVPA email addresses, and I cannot imagine my high school.
Yeah, we could run our own email system and have as many as we want, but you're going to need to have an IT person to do
Right. That'd
Yeah.
be more than $1,000 a month.
that.
So you will inquire where, Jamie?
I will look on the Google for nonprofits
Okay,
site and research that.
Yeah, the city of New York is a nonprofit, but Google is not going to give every employee of the city of New York a free email account. I mean, as a an entity. So there's got to be some sort of
Right.
rationale there.
or we could put a max number,
Well, I don't know what their policies are. So Jamie's going to
multiply the
find out.
committees by what, 3 for just a ballpark?
No, I mean, we don't know how long, whatever systems we use and develop and adopt, we never know how long we're going to be using those. And in terms of this, I mean, you could have a committee that has tons of turnover in a very short period of time and
Right,
end up where we hit that cap way sooner than we meant to. And then we're right back where we started in this position where we've only got 3 emails or maybe even 2 emails at this point left. And so we're kind of hoarding them on the assumption that
Right.
someone will come along who really needs one.
Yeah. Another idea I just had is Crocker, who provides our fiber. I don't know if they still do, but they used to have a hosting service and email service. So I
Mhm.
don't provide anything for towns.
Yeah, that's something to look into too. Yeah, I've seen Crocker mentioned in several of the
Yeah.
IT policies that I've been looking at from other.
Yeah, actually, when the town first got email, it was through Crocker.
so Grace, you're gonna check with Crocker? Fred, you're gonna check with Crocker?
Okay, I will do that.
Fred will check with Crocker, okay.
Yeah, I've got I'm pretty much in election and town meeting mode between now and June
Yeah.
12th.
That'll keep you out of mischief.
One hopes.
Uh, So what would you call that, Fred?
What would I call?
Hosting service?
Well, no, email, something with email in it.
A webmail application.
Well, it doesn't have to be webmail. I would say email service. Yeah, email.
Okay,
See if Crocker offers any email service for a town.
mhm, okay. Okay, anything else on that? Okay, I would like to give you some updates on the web site. Let me pull up a screen share. Oh, hold on. I gotta get out of here first. Okay. Can you see that?
Mhm.
Okay. So first of all, a few of the menu tabs have been changed, amended. Town governance now has what we used to see elsewhere and pulled in other things. Town officials. About Shutesbury has some fun things added now, like demographics,
Nice.
geographics, places of interest, so on. Town officials used to be the people. People didn't look, the readers of the website did not look to people to find context. So we changed it to town officials as a name and then
Mhm.
brought in several of the other sites there. We now have a complete listing of all the bylaws, each with a one sentence descriptor and the date at which they were either adopted or latest amended. And this is now complete.
Very
Ta-da!
nice.
The archive basis of information is the town clerk's binder. So this has been culled from that, but so this is not the official archive. The official archive is still the town clerk
Does it
binder.
say that at the top?
Pardon me?
I said, does it say that at the top?
It does.
Great.
Official true hard copy is kept in the town clerk's office.
Excellent.
And then there's an explanation of what these various signs mean. And town meeting now is now its own page with a short blurb about what it is. And it's been set up like a committee so that we have Paul Lyons as a moderator, as the contact, and then the minutes and the warrants. Jamie has set up the warrants. They will soon, or maybe not so soon, work the same way that the minutes do, so that you can go directly to the warrant rather than having to go this way. But that's
Mhm.
a hitch way down the road. So for each of the annual town meetings from 2014 through the last, there is the full budget that was voted on at that meeting
Great.
for the next year. So that's available. So this page is, I'll just keep keeping it up to date, but and dropping one off the bottom. I think there's no point having old stuff. And then the one thing that's still in progress is this contact page.
Mhm.
And Jamie agreed, benighted soul, to change all these things from their so what you think you'd get here is the committee itself, but what you get instead is the taxonomy.
Mhm.
So Jamie is writing programming, probably by now miles long, to make this show, to get you to the page, the committee page, rather than the taxonomy.
Yeah.
Yay.
So
Yeah.
Jamie, halfway there, a third there, a quarter there?
Probably about halfway there. I'm not the fastest custom module maker for Drupal, so it's definitely taking me some time. My PHP skills are a little rusty, but getting there.
Okay, so just as a point of information, am I asking then that you basically undo the original designation of committee tags?
No, what I'm doing is, so the way the Drupal uses the tags, it uses that taxonomy list. So everything that's tagged that is grouped together, which is what we want. But then by default, Drupal, whenever you have that taxonomy link somewhere,
Yeah.
it brings you to that page that isn't really useful, instead of bringing you to what we consider the main page.
Right,
is
which
like-
would have
which-
been the,
Right, that page.
Yeah.
But this isn't it's not a standard thing in Drupal, so I'm having to figure out how across the entire site show or change the link from this link to that one that we added in taxonomy. And I have it working in some places and not others, so I'm just trying to figure out how to make it consistent.
in the meantime, could we change the page type to sit at the top instead of the bottom?
Probably.
Because on all of these, you have to scroll to the very bottom to get to the actual page,
Yep.
community page.
That could be an easy fix. Let me check. So I can sort it by type. Can you go to one of those pages and try refreshing?
Yep.
Let me clear the
Sometimes
cache here first.
I've been noticing it can take like 5 minutes for changes to show up.
Yeah, you gotta flush the cache sometimes.
Yeah, I just flushed the cache on my end, so let's see if that, now try refreshing.
Beautiful. Yippee, okay.
Yay!
But it's this page, the taxonomy, that is tagged as a committee tag.
Yeah,
If this had been in here, okay. So it comes down to the original decision to tag the taxonomy as a committee tag and not the committee page. That was one of the first decisions made then, right?
yeah,
Okay,
and
so I'm asking you to undo that basically. Oops.
not really. I mean, I'm not sure we could have really come up with a better way to do it and still have things connected the way we want them.
Yeah,
So,
okay. And this won't disrupt it. It means a mountain of programming, but it doesn't disrupt
Right.
the whole system.
right.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything else they want to say or bring up or a question or?
Not right now.
Okay, let me screen share what I have for the minutes. And we can read them and approve them right here and now.
Ah, you've all changed places. Very confusing. Wow, that's annoying.
Speak up if you want to make changes and we can just simply do it.
Mhm. In the number one, the second bullet would take the place of our website.
Yeah,
I would say it would change the address of our website or the name of our website, but it's not changing the website itself. Or not the name, the URL.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
but it
that
would
was
look the same,
especially
but it
that
would look the
was when
same
I-
as true, yes?
when I first brought up this idea with Becky. She was a little worried that I was suggesting we rebuild the whole website.
Okay. Yeah, and also I'd suggest changing would look the same to site would be the same.
Ah,
Or maybe site content would be the same. Yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah, and we would want to keep shutesbury.org because there's probably somewhere within the site where we've linked things
Mhm.
Right.
with that address, and unless we go through and change everything,
oh, oh,
Which
oh,
no one is doing unless they're getting
Yeah.
paid for that.
yeah,
Right.
then all
Yeah,
then
so-
all those links would break. So
So yeah, you could put in, I'd suggest putting another bullet saying shutesbury.org would still work or would still remain. Yeah.
or creative spelling for Shutesbury.
I like it. That looks good to me.
Okay.
Mhm. I'm good with that.
Okay,
Mhm.
yep. The only thing I would change is that we
Pardon?
did. The other thing I would change is that we did set the page
Ah.
type. We don't have to do it anymore.
excellent. All righty, do I hear a wish to close the meeting?
So should we approve these first?
I move to approve minutes as shown.
Ah,
Okay.
I second.
This is going to be confusing. This could go on forever. Great.
all right,
And I'll move to close the meeting.
okay. It is
I'll
now
second.
1:50. All in favor, say aye.
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 Happy
Excellent.
afternoon, folks.
Thank
you.
you,
You too.
Thank you all
everybody.
very much.
Thanks, Gail. You did a lot of good work there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
you've
you.
been doing so amazing on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and again, as
it's
always, when
still
you get
improved.
comments, questions, send them on.
I will.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Grace.
You're welcome, Gail. Thank you so much. Woo, okay.
Now you
Margaret.
take care of the recording of all this stuff
Yep.
and I'll
It's
submit the
all set.
minutes and
You
we'll be,
submit the minutes and I'll get.
do you
them
have any
up.
minutes from the previous meeting? Because when I go to
Ooh.
mytown.gov, it shows up as,
Yeah,
did you take minutes at that
I
one? meeting?
did. Where are they? I haven't thought about that in a very long time. I
That
will
would have been
find
your
them.
first,
I'll find them. I'll solve that. Yeah.
if and when. Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Thank you. All right. Bye.
bye.